This is a clip from one of our most recent episodes. For full episodes and more, please check us out on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Stitcher, and YourVibesPodcast.com. This episode is brought to you by The Station. The Station is downtown Dixon's premier event venue. Located inside historic Mulberry Mill, The Station is a perfect space for a wedding or reception, birthday party or baby shower, conference or class, photo or video shoot, and even a live music performance. Just a quick 45-minute commute from Nashville, Clarksville, and Columbia, The Station provides your guests with a classy and convenient experience in the heart of downtown Dixon's up-and-coming environment. To book your next event, please contact Andy Truman at 336-693-4311 or email her at events@mulberrymilldixon.com.
This family had been sharecropping out here, and they were, I guess they just didn't pay their rent, honestly. And so Andrew's great-grandfather, Orman, he was this little stocky man. He always said he looked like Yosemite Sam. I had like a big old mustache and everything. And he came to collect and discovered that the family was not well. I mean, half of them, I think, had passed away at that point, and they were just like in this cabin that was like right there, sitting next to where our living kitchen table is right now. And so what they did, he went into town and went for the doctor, and the doctor said, "No, I know that family, they're too poor, they can't afford me." And he apparently plopped that doctor up on his horse with a gun to the head and said, "Come out here, you're going to take care of these people." And by the time they got out here, the family had either they were passed away or they were in really bad state. And so they ended up razing the house. They set it on fire and pushed it into the creek.
Oh, man.
And so Andrew's dad would come out to the property here even as a kid, and they would find like doorknobs, and we found ball jars out in the woods still, like where that house was.
Cool.
And every spring, it's kind of sweet.
So where was it in relation to like where we are now?
Okay, so like we're sitting in the middle of our property. I mean, I'm talking like, look out my bedroom window. It's like right there.
Okay.
And in the spring, it's kind of sweet. You'll see daffodils grow up in a perfect square where the house used to be.
Oh, wow.
So I guess like I always picture Miss Holland planting her little daffodils there. And there's still a root cellar by like the road where you can see where that was once upon a time. But, I've... my friends say I've gotten pictures of her before. I took a picture. Andrew's rolling his eyes. I took a picture out of my window one night. My friend's like, "There's a person in your window staring in." And every so often the dog will, be weird and stare out the window. But it's a sad story, but I think it's kind of an interesting story.
Absolutely.
About it's interesting with the history. The one that we talked about, the haunted room, right? So, our ghost in our house that we know lives here, like we are just like convinced is hanging out with us. His name is Dummy.
What? Who named the ghost? No wonder he messes the bed up.
No, it's so bad, and I wish I knew who his real name was. So we actually have a friend, right? I wish you guys could see. It's right at the end of our driveway. His headstone is like right there.
Oh, this is not a full cemetery, just a single.
No,
grave.
it's just him.
Okay.
So back in the 1940s, all of this was logged out here. All of our land was logged. If you guys can't see it, obviously, but it's all woods. And they had run a lumber mill kind of at the bottom of the creek that runs behind our house. And Dummy was deaf and dumb. And that's why they called him Dummy.
Oh,
I know, it's awful. Like that's why I'm cringing when I say it now publicly. But he
you'd get ridiculed in today's world, wouldn't they?
I know. So anyway, he at some point got pulled into the mill.
Oh no.
And it kind of cut him in half. And so one of the earliest memories of Andrew's great grandmother, who grew up in a house just down the road from here, the house is still there, is they really get some sheets. Dummy's been sawed in half. And so, anyway, there he lays. He is buried there. And there really wasn't a whole lot of like reported activity of it. I always knew about Dummy. Even when I was in college, when I was dating him, we talked about Dummy. The funny thing is my pastor's wife encountered like a super distant relative of ours, is like I guess is a nurse or something. And he's like, oh yeah, I've got family that lives in Dixon. Oh yeah, you know about Dummy? Apparently everybody knows about Dummy and like our family.
Wow.
So, I kind of feel like when we were building this house, we clear cut about an acre of land out here. And let's talk about, on all the ghost shows and stuff, when you stir the land up, everyone gets really angry and stuff. And so I kind of wonder if we didn't disrupt some stuff. And I mean, we actually made it so that we knew we weren't going to touch his grave, but his grave is like right there. And so anyway, my subcontractors started to kind of notice weird stuff happening when we were building the house. And I'm going to be honest with you, building this house was absolutely the worst experience for us. We had a builder sort of walk away from it and lost a bit of money from it and stuff like that. But so there was a lot of negativity with the house. Thankfully, that's all kind of been redeemed and it's a wonderful place to live now. But I even remember distinctly like my HVAC guy texting me and being like, hey, I'm leaving. Like, I can't be up here right now. And, there would be footsteps. And I have a good friend whose kid has definitely seen someone like in the window looking out. And so, they were outside. Yeah. And like the Roomba will start itself in the middle of the night, even though it's like not on a schedule. Yeah. And like we walked in 3 or 4 days ago and the piano was like, so I mean, there's just... oh man, and the bed too, right? Well, and the big thing he's telling me is so that every so often the bedroom upstairs, that we call it the haunted room. I think it's sweet because it's the most unused room in our house. It's just our guest bedroom, and it's pretty. Sure. And I almost think it's welcoming for whomever, but the bed will be unmade sometimes, and like I've got a really great cleaning lady who puts beautiful lines in our carpet and there's no footprints, but the bed is unmade. And so it's a little bit, it's just unnerving. So, well, Dummy, he needs a place to sleep. We should come up with another name for him. I wish maybe just Silly or something. Oh, I know. I feel so bad, but the problem is like the whole family calls him that already. So it kind of stuck. No. And in the biggest essence, I would never call him Dummy in the sense of he's stupid because he's not. He's a human, but it's just one of those things that's kind of stuck for, I mean, think about that. It's 1940. I mean, that's like, that's a long time. It's like an 80-year-old story. Yeah. That'll stick. The name will stick. I know. Yeah. And I told Angela too that I was going to come over and I was going to sleep in that bed just to see what was going on. No. And you can believe what you want to. It's, what, my great-grandmother, my favorite thing about her, and they always said she was kind of sensitive like how I am, tells a good story too. Yeah. And you know what? At the end of the day, that's what I love about ghost stories and about scary stories is they stick. Whether or not they're true or not, I think we're all going to remember that. We're all going to remember Angela is kind of putting herself out there and telling crazy stories today. Crazy stories. I'm the same way. People think I'm crazy too. A lot of stuff I say, but just because you don't understand it or you don't know it doesn't mean it's not real. Well, that's a good thing about October. It kind of reminds us it's, the world kind of gets sleepy and gets dark and we can sort of hunker down and get a little creepy get a little weird. Yeah. It's kind of fun. Yeah. It was kind of like, what I was telling you about, my cousin Stacy and her at her parents' house having a sleepover and somebody walked through the dining room and there was a little girl standing on the dining room table. It's a little friend. And it wasn't like this girl came in from the story that I was told. Girl came in and was just trying to make up this story. It's like she apparently walked into the next room where all the girls were that were having the sleepover and was just ghost white, was just pale white. And couldn't say anything. Well, and it's not fair when it's kids. Like as adults, like I can kind of look at it and it sucks. Like when Andrew's out of town and I'm here by myself with a dog and the dog freaks out and I'm like, oh man, I don't want to deal with this right now. No. I'm going to turn all the lights on in my house. But, I think about, I said it earlier, like I think about the continuity of these kind of stories. Like it's fun to tell them. And you know what? Like, they sing entire Christmas carols about that. Like, sure. So. Thanks again to the station for sponsoring this episode. If you are looking to book your next wedding or reception, baby shower or birthday party, conference or class, photo or video shoot, or even a live music performance, please reach out to Andy Truman at 336-693-4311 or shoot her an email at
events@mulberrymilldixon.com. If you're interested in sponsoring an episode, please reach out to me directly via email at yourvibespodcast@gmail.com. Thanks again for listening, and always remember, stay vibey, my friends.